What is your favorite? And that's why we had to put this sign up story. Near my old city, there was a street sign that roughly said, when translated, "Don't cross here, you could die." Eventually, it became "Don't cross here. Someone already died." Saw a sign like that near a waterfall on our honeymoon. It said something to the effect of, 15 people have died here after leaving the path and falling on the slippery rocks. Definitely got my attention. It really shines brightest when the number has been crossed out and replaced by hand. One day I noticed that they had drained, cleaned, and refilled the pool at my apartment complex. A few days later I noticed a new sign on the pool area gate that said persons with active diarrhea or who have had diarrhea in the past 48 hours are not permitted to enter the pool. I've also seen this sign at spas. People be nasty. The drop-off laundry service in my neighborhood put up a sign that said they are no longer accepting underwear. It's a laundry, a business built on dirty clothing. How nasty was those drawers that they had to ducking change their policy. Back when I was a kid there was a roadside park we picnicked at where a guy chasing a frisbee jumped a fence, not realizing that those were not bushes on the other side, but the tops of trees growing from the base of a 30-foot cliff. So anyway, that's how that park came to have signs every 10 feet on the fence warning of the drop. A couple of guys, I know one of them, did this in our city at a ramp for underground parking for the law courts. They were drunk and decided that they could jump the hedge in front of them. Broken ankles for everyone. Sadly, they sued and won over lack of signage. I still think dumb is its own reward. Edit. I didn't mention the height of the hedge. It wasn't like a 3-foot little decoration. This was chest level in front of the cement guardrail. All in all, an impressive leap. There is a sign on the way to my grandparents' house that had a picture of a cow falling off of a cliff to a car. Because there is a cattle field on the cliff above the road. And at least 3 cows have fallen to there and an unlucky driver's death. I don't see what use the sign is though. Being aware of the potential for falling cows doesn't help you to avoid them. When you see an actual cow falling off the cliff, your first reaction will be to gawk at it. Well, look at that. It's a falling cow. The sign preps your mind to understand that cows can fall off the cliff above you and may hit your car. When a prepared person sees a falling cow, they will react differently. Chatting with students in the lounge area when all of a sudden, we hear an incredibly loud bang. Turns out that another new student had been texting while walking to our center's demo room and totally missed the fact that the room's walls are all panes of glass. So she ultimately face planted in front of me and my group. Not the first time this has happened, but this was enough to warrant a "Caution. Glass ahead" sign. There's a glass door in a control tower at Miami International Airport that has a "Caution" door sign on it for similar reasons. I was the one who walked into it. At a seminar on new colostomy supplies, there was a sticker on the colostomy bag collar, the part your modified intestine sticks through, stating that the colostomy was not to be used for sexual pleasure. I don't know the backstory, but according to a doctor I know, it's disturbingly common for people to catch STDs in their colostomy hole because of, well, I had to learn that. So you'll do too. How do I unlearn something? Not necessarily a sign we put up, but worked with an assistant manager at Sonic who had poured degreaser in her drink and proceeded to drink it to claim that someone had tried poisoning her. And of course, upon reviewing the infamous non-working camera system and watching her poison herself, every employee at that point had to sign paperwork stating we would not drink cleaning chemicals. Edit. I originally put Sonic, but it was actually Subway. I worked at Sonic afterward. I promise not to poison myself on company property. Rule number 18. Suicide attempts are to be made after clocking out and leaving the building. No exceptions. I had to put up a large sign at a local nursing home saying basically don't let people out the door to outside without checking with staff. Evidently a resident, in a gown and wheelchair, asked a visitor to hold the door, with an alarm and a keypad code to open for them. And the person did. The staff ran out and got the patient at the end of the driveway about to push out into traffic. The visitor actually said, "I didn't know she wasn't allowed out." This is a third-hand story, so I DK the validity. I have heard of some retirement homes that will have a bus stop built on the sidewalk between the main building and the road. And it has a big sign saying bus stop on it. So if a person slips out, they often would get to the bus stop and then sit down to wait for the bus. Staff would keep an eye on the bus stop and round up anybody that was out there waiting for the bus. The real bus stop was on the street and you had to walk a little bit further to get to it. I feel bad for the lost elderly tourist who was rounded up at that bus stop and dragged into the nursing home. The other day a woman was tanning in the middle of a shooting range. I think some new signs will be made. Jesus. What the hell was the range safety doing? Ready on the right? Right is ready. Ready on the left? Left is tanning. When you wanna get a nice tan but also high key wanna die. 3 times over the winter, I took my kid to the zoo and there was a volunteer standing at a certain spot of the gorilla enclosure, showing one of the gorilla's videos on her phone. He was very interested in videos of other gorillas and it was mental stimulation for him. She would tell us. The gorilla would sit very close to the glass to see her phone. She was dressed just like a volunteer and talked like one too. Turns out she wasn't a volunteer. Turns out watching YouTube is bad for gorillas. There is now a sign saying don't show videos to the gorillas. It has a negative impact on their relationship with their family. We had to put a sign up a few years back at my job on one of those automated sample machines. It was dispensing small tins of Caesar's dog food, very clearly advertised as such, and a woman approached myself and a co-worker asking us why she and her 2 children just ate dog food. I felt the only response to her was because you fed it to them, management didn't approve of that answer. So we had to put up a sign. People massively bringing dogs to the park. Despite of a big no dogs sign. The locals say the sign is too high. And dogs cannot see it. But dogs actually can look up, so they should know better. Oh sure. And the shotgun and the Winchester is real. His first day of kindergarten. My brother thought he could escape during recess by trying to climb this massive chain link fence. He got up about 8 feet before the lunch ladies noticed and disciplined him. The aides sent him to the principal's office and when questioned why he did it, my little smartest 5-year-old brother replied that there was no sign that said you can't climb it. There is now a sign. Through my cousin who managed a restaurant for years. On the hostess stand at the front they had a sign that said we smoke our meats with premium apple wood. A small bowl of the wood chips they used placed right in front of it. The amount of people who would take a wood chip and try to eat it was staggering. It got to the point they had to keep a bag of the wood chips in the cabinet of the hostess stand. People would sometimes put them in their mouth and spit it out embarrassed. And try to cover it up. Some would laugh and say I shouldn't have had that last drink. Others would turn around, double down, and try to give the saliva covered chip to the hostess, then complain that these mints are disgusting. So there is now another sign beside the bowl that says wood chips do not eat in red letters. Makes for fun conversation every night for the hostesses seating people who are new to the restaurant. Unfortunately they still need to keep an extra bag of wood chips in the stand and people still think they look like a great after dinner snack. Now when the double downers complain the hostess just points to the sign and laughs. People never cease to amaze. What I mean? It's a chip ain't it? If I can eat potato chips and corn chips and apple chips, why can't I eat apple wood chips? I am suing. Paint chips are the best chips. My stepdad worked at a shipping yard and they had to put cylindrical tanks in one of 2 spots indicating whether they were full of gas or empty. So one day, the boss asks a guy to wield 2 signs. One saying full and the other saying empty. This guy wasn't all there and he did create the signs and showed them off to the boss. The first one was well made. Full, it said. The second one, empty. They all found it so funny they kept it that way. There is a bad habit among the shop workers of my area at least. When an oxygen or acetylene bottle is empty, they take a paint marker and write empty on the tank. It's really obnoxious because those tanks get reused all the time, so when they come back full it still read empty. We had one guy get written up because he took a wire wheel brush on a grinder to erase it. It was acetylene and it was very much full. Don't take power tools to explosive tanks, kids. It's a ducking dumb move. Idea. Use chalk, it stays on while you need it but comes off easily. I work in an office and in the bathroom we have a sign that says please don't flush printer paper. Throw your divorce papers in the trash. Now every time someone in our office has to use the bathroom we say I gotta go flush the divorce papers. When I was in the 4th grade during art class I drew a Minecraft creeper drawing on construction paper. Later me and my friends went to use the bathroom and I still had the drawing in my hands. So I decided to lay the drawing into the urinal just to be funny. Then one of my friends flushed the urinal. The paper didn't let the water go through whole of the urinal, so we decided to start flushing it over and over again and the water began to overflow the bowl and onto the floor. Then one of the teachers got suspicious to why she heard laughing and yelling in the bathroom. She came in and saw what we were doing and went out and told every adult she could see, and more teachers came in and took us into the principal's office. We all blamed it on each other and most of us got suspended, including me. 4th grade. Minecraft creeper. I'm sorry. I just can't get past this. It's not really a unique situation. But one of my favorite bars has signs in the bathroom that say we don't poop in your art box. Don't art in our poop box. Someone shat in a urinal every block over the course of 2 weeks without anyone noticing. After it was cleaned a sign was put up saying please do not put things in the urinal. The sign was promptly found inside the urinal. One day, before I became a manager at my MCDs, I found shit all over the urinal. Up the sides and everything. Like, right before I was supposed to clock out. I didn't say anything and clocked out on time. From my father. He was eating at a seafood restaurant and had to pee. There was a sign on the door to the bathroom that said something like, if you ate this dish then wash your hands before using the bathroom. My father, being male and my father, laughed it off and stepped inside to use the urinal. There was a moment when he was peeing and fine, and then there became the moment when he felt like his dong was on fire. So he ran to the sinks and started splashing water on his junk, which also splashed his face, so he, in a very Home Alone style, grabbed his face in an OMG fashion, which then started to burn his eyes. So he was there for a very long time splashing water up and down trying to control the burn. Eventually he returned to the table, paid, and left. Obviously there was a reason why the sign existed and he was just an extension of it. Hatch. NM is famous for its chili peppers. People make pilgrimages from all over the country to buy them. If you've never had Hatch chili pepper, seriously go get some now. They're frigging awesome. If you go there on your own personal pepper pilgrimage, you'll notice that a few of the pepper vendors have signs in their bathrooms that read wash hands before using the facilities. A lot of tourists, including me, learn that lesson the hard way. I'd spent most of the morning handling peppers, sampling pepper jellies, pepper gummies, tasting pepper infused wine, etc. I went into the bathroom, whipped out Mr. Happy, and proceeded to do my business. Let's just say that Hatch chili peppers have a little heat on them. We had to place a no hanging around outside sign up because the teenagers did not know what no loitering meant. I work in private security. I once upon a time had to ask a group of people hanging out in a hospital parking garage to leave. They asked why. I said we had a policy of no loitering in the garage due to some issues we had been having with break-ins. Their response was, we ain't loitering. We just waiting around. I had a friend in high school who thought loitering was just another word for littering. Which sort of makes sense if you know the area. There's a very specific accent to the area that I can't really explain. The words high tide is a good example though. It's pronounced high tide. Like the center sound is a British pay attention OI instead of a hard I. So litter to loiter isn't as big a stretch as you'd think. He'd lived there all his life and I was from off, so I got to explain the difference. Weird day. I work at the dining hall at my university and was cleaning the salad bar when I noticed a small fire coming from our toaster oven. After running to find my manager, we eventually put it out. Turns out some guy stuck a piece of pie in there with a paper plate and the entire thing bursted into flames. "Please only put bread in the toaster" became the new sign. At the college I went to, there was a sign on the men's bathroom in one building that said, "Please don't use your feet to flush the toilets because some dude drop kicked a toilet in an attempt to flush it." I've never laughed so hard reading a sign in my life. At a previous workplace, "Please do not put toilet paper in the urinal," with a graffitied addition. "No TP. Just PP." I'm a little confused as to why this sign was needed. I had a work order generated for wall toilet leaking. Figured it was a lady who called it an or a wall mounted toilet. Nope. The guy was working and was able to walk us right to the urinal that was having issues. Maybe he's the one putting TP in the wall toilets. We have a rule at our pool that in the sauna you can't exercise. One man consistently works out in the sauna. I used to go to a gym where a lady would regularly do naked yoga in the sauna. I guess she wanted to do hot yoga and the gym didn't offer it. That is a power move. We had a guy near the pool feed seagulls, so now the hotel I work at has a "No seagulls allowed" sign near the pools. Seagulls are illiterate a-holes. I doubt that'll stop him. I live in Vancouver, where the incident happened where the sea lion grabbed that girl and dragged her underwater and the grandpa had to save her. In the area where that happened there's a sign that says "No feeding the sea lions" as a visual depiction. Haven't been back in a while, but I'm pretty sure it's still there. Yes, I noticed the signs appeared there shortly afterward. I'm from Richmond. My husband and I moved into our first home. It was a completely renovated, amazingly cool house. We knew the previous owner flipped it and it was a bona fide bachelor pad, leather bar, pinball machine, blue under lighting in the kitchen's bathroom, hot tub, the whole 9 yards. A few weeks after moving in we noticed people kept stopping by the house asking for Alex. We told them he didn't live here anymore and they always would ask if we had his new address. They were nice enough but it was starting to get annoying. One Tuesday evening around 11 o'clock we were falling asleep on the couch and all of a sudden some guy strung out appeared in our living room. He opened the sliding door right next to us and walked in asking for Alex. My husband stood up and was like, "WTF, Alex doesn't live here anymore, tell all your friends," and the guy left. We learned the next day from our neighbors that Alex was the local drug kingpin in the area and frequently had his unsavory clientele over to pick up product here at all hours of the day night. That weekend we put up a sign that said "Alex doesn't live here," went out and got a massive Rottweiler. We named him Alex. Well, where the duck did your dog live? Alex didn't live in that house. He got his own doghouse all to his own. Best comment of the day. I know of a few care homes for people with severe dementia that have fenced off terrains with little paths for people to wander around on that include a bus stop. It helps with feelings of restlessness and frustration about urges to go home, back to places remembered from childhood, and not being able to leave. People can sit and wait for the bus for a while until they forget about it and wander off again. Some of them even pack bags to take along. And some, after sitting a while, believe they just arrived back after being away. It seems a bit funny, but I totally get how it would help people with some character traits.